Greetings YouTube. Today I present to you the first of a 4-game series I played with my friend David. So this is doubly interesting to me because not only do I enjoy going over my friend's games and learning from his games, but obviously I also like learning from my own games and my own mistakes. And rest assured I do make plenty of mistakes in chess, and I like learning from them. So let's get started. I played King's Pawn, e4, d6, d4, g6, knight c3, and we have Pirc modern defense. I guess you could say it started as modern. I think if they start with g6, it's modern, and then if they play knight f6, turned into a Pirc. I actually don't know the details that well. So by bringing my bishop outside the pawn chain, it's kind of like an Austrian attack with the bishop outside, which has pros and cons, just like any other chess opening. David played c6. I really have no problems with any of his moves or my moves so far. But here's the first somewhat questionable move, bringing the bishop out. It's already time to strike at the center, and I found this pretty instructive myself. So this is something I have to be careful of playing white, and or obviously playing black if I ever learn this opening. So black should strike right away at white's center with d5. Now, obviously, if the e6 pawn were up, then this move would be very bad, winning a piece. But in this case, it's not winning a piece. Now, if black just sees d5 and plays here, then the whole concept is wrong-headed. But the idea is actually to come into e4. At first sight, this looks a little strange. You're allowing white to take, and you have this weak pawn here, which you're thinking, oh, well, maybe white could just win this straight away. But actually, that leaves the d pawn weak. And we could take right away, which is good for black. Or we could kick this bishop first, which has to go to an awkward square. This is a little bit, it's a little subtle why you would want to kick the bishop first. But after queen takes, I guess the knight could move again, and then we could either trade queens or give a check. But let's say white plays c3. We can actually give a check after a piece interposes. Now we know that. Now we see the idea of playing h6. We're winning another pawn, and black is doing great here. Even if white does win back this pawn, black's probably going to win this pawn. White's whole center is destroyed. This is exactly what you want when you're playing a hypermodern system. These systems are they're counterattacking systems. You let white get a big center, and then you strike back at it at the right moment. And it's tricky. I can see why it wouldn't be as popular as, say, the Sicilian or double king's pawn, because you have to know whether to strike with d5, e5, or c5, and it all depends on the context. But in this case, d5 is a great move, and computer gives not even taking the knight, just finishing development. But now this bishop is awkwardly placed. Another nice thing about this move is it threatens to double white's pawns two different ways, either taking this knight or taking the bishop, getting the bishop pair. Computer recommends white just continue developing and then counterattacking the center, and says it's about equal, tiny bit better for white. But black has his trumps, two bishops, and maybe later he'll undermine the center with c5. And white's pawns are broken up now, so he's gained something. But instead, black played bishop g4. And here's the big mistake, is taking this knight unprovoked. And this is another instructive moment. So here black should just castle. There's no rush to take this knight. And now if black well, let's look at the game continuation. Actually, it's instructive. So taking right away was not good. But here white returns the favor. Here, after black castles, I castle, which gives away most of my advantage. And to see why castling is bad, let's look at what actually happened in the game. So I did castle, and black played b5, which is another bad move. But what black should play is e5. Now, e5 looks a little scary, right? This pawn's only defended twice, and it's excuse me, the pawn's only defended once by black, and it's attacked 2 times. Not only that, it seems like we're walking into a pin after d takes or f takes. F takes seems more natural. D takes and d takes back. We're at a pin. But there's 2 ways out of this pin. First off, we could trade queens, but better is to give this check. Now, you always have to be careful giving these checks. For instance, if the white rook were on e1, white could block with bishop d3, excuse me, bishop e3, and then the queen and the knight would both be attacked. But in this case, the king has to move, and now we drop back, and we're hitting this pawn, which is going to be lost. White could just jettison it right away if he wants. And we have a unbalanced position where white has the 2 bishops. Both sides have isolated pawns. And but the computer says it's about equal because white also has his weaknesses. This king is a little weak. You could say both kings are both kings are a little weak. But this would have been an interesting way to play. So definitely, if you're a Pirc player, go over this a couple times. I'm going to try not to repeat myself here, but e5 would have been a great move here. And let's go back. So I was saying that for me, castling wasn't the best in this position. Excuse me, this position. So computer recommends queen d2 or queen d3. So what's the big difference? Why can't white play this break now? Well, here the difference is huge after takes. Now there's no check to give. Actually, I screwed this up. I was too hasty. Very, very interesting subtlety. You don't take with the f pawn. Take with the d pawn. After taking with the f pawn, actually, assume queen takes queen. Yeah. After this, black actually is fine. Yeah. So many subtleties in chess. That's why it's such a great game. So yeah, you don't take with f pawn, which throws away white's advantage. You take with d pawn. Now, after black takes back, now you trade queens, and you're winning a full piece. Not even the exchange, because this rook is undefended. If the knight moves, you're just taking the rook. So you're just winning this knight, and white's totally winning. So that's why castling on my part was an inaccuracy. But fortunately for me, David missed this e5 break, and now I'm telling him about it. So if I ever get this possession again, I'm sure he'll see it. Instead, he played b5, which is it just looks wrong. You see that this rook is weak here. You're not really influencing the center. You are threatening to come forward and kick my knight, but the center is the more important thing, and white's better developed, so it just can't be the right move. And I strike with e5 right away before black has a chance to play something like that, and the knight retreats. Better actually was to play b4, which it's actually the type of move I know from experience that David really likes, a counterattacking move. And you might think, uh-oh, but after this, you're attacking another piece. So if you go ahead and take the knight, you're losing another piece. But this is not the idea. The idea is after you take the knight, the e-pawn takes. Now you two are hitting 2 pieces, and this way black avoids the worst of it. But instead, black moved the knight. Now his pieces are really in a jumble. And you can see that one of the ideas of bringing this bishop out is to pin this pawn. And after e takes d, this pawn is pinned, and black is in a lot of trouble. The computer suggests this move to break the pin. But either way, it's not good situations. Queen d6 was played, pinning this pawn, putting pressure. But I'm able to take another pawn, and now I have this great advanced pawn. You can see black's really in a jumble. These knights are in each other's way. this rook is stuck in the corner, this pawn is pinned, and the rest of the game, okay, black wins a pawn back, but his pieces are still very awkward, and there's not too much instructional value in the rest of the game. I'll just go over it quickly. Yeah, another problem is this pawn here is loose. Why can't he take with the queen? I did go over this game, but he can't take with the queen because this bishop drops. So yeah, white grabs another pawn, but now the rook is going to be lost, and I'll just show the rest of the moves briefly. This is just total disaster. All black's problems are compounded. Here I was considering giving up the queen and trying to get some mate over here, but I decided to play it safe and just take the queen. And this is checkmate. So this is if you're a player who plays the Pirc or Modern and you don't know when to break in the center, this type of thing will happen to you over and over and over again. And it probably turns a lot of people off this opening, but it's not a bad opening. I've seen Magnus Carlsen play it, at least in a casual game. I think it was on top of a mountain somewhere. He was playing another Grandmaster. Yeah, one of those nights on YouTube you're just watching random shit. But yeah, I hope you got instructional value out of this game, and I'm going to jump in momentarily with the second game we played. Thanks for watching.